Welcome students again into the chemistry class. Now this is the last one, classification of the polymers. Now this classification of polymers is based on the biodegradability. Now what is this biodegradability? Now we know that in nature there are so many polymers, like so many plastic polymers such as this nylon 6, nylon 66 and the polythene, etc. These are non-biodegradable polymers. That means they cannot be degraded or decomposed by the microbes or microorganisms. So on the basis of this degradability, biodegradability, there are mainly two types of polymers. The one that is the non-biodegradable and the another is the biodegradable. Now non-biodegradable polymers are well known. So many, that is the bakelite, again that is nylon 6, nylon 66, polythene, polypropylene, etc. But due to that, what happened? There is the environmental problem of the pollution, and they remains as it is in the environment for a long time, and due to which there is the hazards of pollution. Such polymers, if in a maximum amount that is formed or synthesized, then they remains as a waste in the environment, and due to that there is the problem of pollution. So scientists develops such polymers which can be degradable by the microbes. They are biodegradable, and therefore on the basis of this biodegradability, there are two types of these polymers again. We will learn all these degradable, biodegradable and non-biodegradable polymers, their synthesis later on. But here, see what is given in the classification of polymers on the basis of biodegradability. Most of the synthetic polymers are not affected by the microorganisms. They cannot be decomposed. Such polymers, these are called non-biodegradable polymers. They cannot get decomposed by the microorganisms into the simpler substances. So they are called as the non-biodegradable polymers. They are in the form of waste material, stay in the environment for a very long time and cause the pollution hazards. Most of the natural fibers are biodegradable, such as silk or cotton. These are also the polymers, but they are the biodegradable polymers. Again, the polyhydroxy butyrate valerate. This is the biodegradable polymer which are synthesized by the scientist. That is artificial or that is synthetic polymers, but they are biodegradable. And in attempt to tackle or stop the environment pollution problem, scientists develop biodegradable synthetic polymers. For example, polyhydroxy butyrate covalerate. This is the biodegradable polymer. Now these are the 6 type of classification of the polymers. Now let us study one by one some important polymers, their synthesis, their uses, and how they are prepared in the laboratory also, or naturally how they are present. Now first polymer of that is the rubber. Now see on a blackboard. Now some important polymers. First one is the rubber. The elastomers are generally called as rubber, or elastomers are popularly known as the rubbers. You know the elastomers. We'll see the classification of the polymers on the basis of the that is covalent bond or intermolecular forces. Into that there is the class, that is the elastomers. So in the classification of the polymers based on the intermolecular forces, these elastomers are there. Now these elastomers are popularly known as the rubber. Now first let us study the natural rubber. Now this natural rubber is made from the latex of the rubber plant. Now which are the monomers of this natural rubber? The monomer of the natural rubber is the isoprene units. Now what is the IUPAC name of this isoprene? Now see, this is the isoprene. Now number from this side because branching is nearer to this. So give here number 1, 2, 3 and 4. There are the 4 carbon atoms in a straight chain and on the second carbon there is the methyl group. So the IUPAC and there are the 2 double bond on first carbon atom and on third carbon atom. So the IUPAC name of this isoprene is 2-methyl 1,3. Now this is the butene, but it is butadiene because 2 double bonds are there. So the IUPAC name of this isoprene, remember that the IUPAC name of this isoprene is 2-methyl 1,3-butadiene. Now this is the 2-methyl 1,3-butadiene. This is the IUPAC name of this isoprene, and these isoprene are the main monomer of the natural rubber. Now these are the monomers. Now let us take n number of isoprene, and after polymerization what is happen there? Now there are the n number of, so the suppose there is the one molecule here which attacks on this CH2 group, that is this CH2 attacks the bond, that is on the third carbon of the another, that is isoprene attacks on the first carbon of this CH2. At the same time what happened? These double bonds shift here and this again attack on the another, that is the third molecule of the isoprene, and on this also there is the attack from the first molecule of the isoprene. At the same time these bonds shift here, and when these bonds shift here, these double bond get attacked or it attacks on the next isoprene. And in this way, see here is the now this bond which is attached to the first isoprene monomer. Now here it will become the single bond because this bond shift here. Here becomes the single bond due to the shifting of the double bond. Now this double bond shift between this CH3 double bond CH. Here is the double bond comes again, and here is at the same time this bond attack on the next isoprene. So here also becomes the single bond, and this bond get attached to the next isoprene unit. And in this way there are n number of isoprene units are attached into the polyisoprene. Now this is the polyisoprene because here number of isoprene units get added between each other after the polymerization. And this polyisoprene is nothing but it is the natural rubber. Remember that. How we can draw then the structure of the natural rubber? Now see here I show the continuation. That means here is the, again there are the isoprene units. Now see here, this CH2 group, this CH2 group. Now this C, that is the carbon to which there is the methyl group, this methyl group, then there is the double bond, then the carbon CH, again this CH2, again the another isoprene unit get added by this first carbon atom. So this is the CH2 as here, again this isomer type. And again the first isoprene unit, as here the structure, there is the structure of that isoprene. And again there is the continuation. That means so many number of these isoprene units get attached after polymerization, and there is formation of the, that is the natural rubber. It is also called as the polyisoprene. Now this natural rubber is a high molecular mass linear polymer of the isoprene. This is the linear polymer of isoprene, and it have a very high molecular mass. Its molecular mass varies from 1,30,000 micron to 3,40,000 micron. Now about 2,000 to 5,000 monomers are used to synthesize the natural rubber, and then monomers are the isoprene unit. Now let us study the second important polymer, and the name of that second important polymer. Now first study some properties of the natural polymers. Now I here told you the properties of the natural rubber. Polyisoprene, that is the natural rubber molecule, has cis configuration of the carbon-carbon double bond. Now see here, there is the cis configuration and not the trans configuration. Now this, see here is the carbon-carbon double bond, CH2 unit, the another CH2 unit. Both of the similar CH2 units are to the same side, and this CH3 and H to the opposite side. So this is the cis type of arrangement. Now here also CH2 to the one side, CH3 and H which are different, they to the other side. Again there is here CH2 to the one and same side. So what is the first property of the natural rubber? That the polyisoprene molecule has cis configuration of the carbon-carbon double bond. It consists of various chains held together by weak van der Waals forces, and it has the coiled structure. Now this natural rubber have the coiled structure, and there are various chains of this polyisoprene, and the various chains held together by the van der Waals forces. They attach together each other, the chains, by the van der Waals forces. The second property is that it can be stretched like a spring and exhibit elastic property. Now rubber have very elastic property because it can be stretched like the spring. Now let us study what is the vulcanization of rubber. Now you know that in the vulcanization process, what is there? In the vulcanization process, to improve the physical property of the natural rubber, the vulcanization process is carried out. Now this is carried out in 1839. Charles Goodyear, the scientist and American inventor, investigated the process of vulcanization. So to improve the physical properties of the natural rubber, there is the process is done, and that process is known as the vulcanization of the rubber. The process is very important, and due to which the elasticity also increases, and in that there is addition of the sulfur. In vulcanization there is addition of the sulfur. So the process by which a network of crosslinks is introduced into an elastomer is called as the vulcanization. Vulcanization is a process in which network of crosslink is introduced. Now you know the crosslink. There are the cross-linked bonds into the rubber, and these crosslinks when introduced in a maximum in the elastomer, then that can called as the vulcanization. So the process by which a network of crosslinks is introduced into an elastomer is called as the vulcanization. The profound effect of vulcanization enhance the properties of the elastomers, like they increases the tensile strength, stiffness, elasticity, toughness, etc. of the natural rubber. Sulfur vulcanization is the most frequently used process. Generally, sulfur is used for the vulcanization. Sulfur forms cross links between the polyisoprene chains. In between the polyisoprene chains, there is the cross links of sulfur is formed, which results to improve the properties of the natural rubber, and in this way the natural rubber get vulcanized. Now let us study the next, that is the polythene, how the polythenes are prepared. Now see what is there in the polythenes. Now let us first learn the vulcanization of the rubber. There may be short note on this topic in the board examination, that is the vulcanization of rubber. So what is actually done in the vulcanization of rubber? Now I told you there is the addition of sulfur atoms in the double bond of the polyisoprene, that is the natural rubber, and due to that what happened, the properties of the natural rubber enhance or increases or become superior than the natural rubber, such as elasticity, toughness, stiffiness, etc. So what is actually happen into the vulcanization of rubber? Let us see. Now the process by which a network of cross links is introduced into the double bond of the elastomers or polyisoprene or natural rubber is called as the vulcanization of rubber. Now see this structure. Here there are the two different polyisoprene chains are there. Now we know that there is the double bond between this C, that is the carbon which is attached to the methyl group, and this CH, there is the double bond. So in between the double bond, these sulfur atoms get added, and in this way there is the large network type of the material is formed, and which is somewhat harder than the natural rubber due to the addition of this sulfur atom between the double bond of the isoprene units. Now sulfur from the cross link, sulfur forms cross links between isoprene chains as shown on the blackboard. This sulfur from cross links between the isoprene, two different isoprene chains, there is the formation of cross link due to the sulfur. So sulfur form cross links between the polyisoprene chains, which improve the property of the natural rubber like tensile strength, stiffiness, elasticity, toughness, etc. And one or more sulfur atoms cross links two polyisoprene chains. Now two or more sulfur atoms cross links means between these two polyisoprene that is the units or chains, there is the cross linking of the sulfur. So two or more sulfur atom cross links the two polyisoprene chains and produce three-dimensional vulcanized rubber. The structure becomes then three-dimensional, having the length, breadth and height. And by increasing the amount of sulfur, by addition of more amount of sulfur into the natural rubber, the hardness of the rubber increases. So by increasing the amount of the sulfur, rubber can be hardened. About 40 to 45% of sulfur when added, we obtain a non-elastic hard material known as ebonite. Now that is non-elastic and very hard, that is the material. You know the ebonite rod, which is the ebonite rods are generally used in the formation of pens, etc. Now in my hand, this is also the ebonite material. Now this is the very hard and non-elastic material. So by adding 40 to 45% of the sulfur, we obtain a very non-elastic hard material known as the ebonite. Now this is the somewhat probable three-dimensional structure of the rubber. I show here the two polyisoprene chains get cross-linked by this sulfur, and so so many that is the polyisoprene chains can be cross-linked by these sulfur atoms. Now vulcanization is generally carried out by heating the raw rubber, that is the natural rubber, with sulfur powder in the presence of some organic compounds, and that organic compounds are called as the accelerators. Accelerator means they enhance or increases the rate of the reaction, and this process is carried out the heating of the raw rubber with that of the sulfur powder in the presence of accelerator, that are the some organic compounds, is carried out generally at 150 degree centigrade temperature. Now the most common accelerator used for the vulcanization of rubber is the ZBX, that is the zinc butyl xanthate. This is the most common used accelerator. Remember that ZBX, zinc butyl xanthate. Now the which are these rubber plants? What is the that is the name, scientific name of the rubber plant is that is the Hevea brassilensis. Now these Hevea brassilensis plants are plenty of on the banks of the Amazon river, and therefore from the latex of this Hevea brassilensis the natural rubber at first gets synthesized, and that can be then converted into the vulcanized rubber. Now this is about the vulcanization of rubber. Now if you understand, students, this vulcanization of rubber and natural rubber, very isoprene, what is isoprene, what are the polyisoprene chains. Now these are, there is always question in the board on this, that is the natural rubber, polyisoprene chains, again the structure of the isoprene, and the vulcanization of rubber. If you like, you can share and subscribe, and tell the other students also to subscribe this video. Thank you.